I'm Antony, and today I've got a handful of your questions that I've received from Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. So I will do my best to answer them the best I can. Right, we'll crack on. Right, at random. How long have you been growing your hair? A year, an exact year. I did a video last September stating that I was going to start to grow my hair for the Little Princesses Trust, and that was about an exact year ago, so a year. Right, next one, what have we got here? Have you been swimming? You mean since my amputation? I have been swimming. I try to go swimming every Wednesday. The local leisure centre I go to has a disability morning for an hour, so I go there. I have been swimming with able-bodied swimmers as well. I prefer to go with the disabled swim because I get less looks. I have to shuffle to the edge of the pool and get in, and on the disabled Wednesdays I don't get looked at. I don't get many looks with the able-bodied swimmers. It's just, I think it's more of a confidence thing, and I feel a little bit better on a Wednesday. So yeah, I have been swimming. Another swimming one. Will you or do you swim in circles? Kinda. I consciously have to correct myself going straight because of the lack of the limb on the right side. As I do breaststroke, I do tend to push more to the right. Strangely, standing in water on one leg, I tend to spin. I have to correct myself. I have to use my arms more to not to spin and end up on my back. Try it next time you're in the swimming pool. Stand in the swimming pool and stand on one leg, or just lift one of your legs off the floor. Don't lean on one, or don't hop on one and stay over. Stand as though you've just lift the leg and see how your stability is. You do find you spin around, so I do swim kind of in circles. I have to consciously correct myself, but standing is more of the issue. What would you think of that? What's been the hardest part of your amputation? That's a good question. There's not one single thing I can think of as the hardest. It's just hard because of a few aspects. The pain, the initial pain of having it and getting used to it. The phantom pain is hard. Getting off medication. I mean, I've been on opioids for a long period of time, for over 2 years. So coming off of opiates has been hard. Self-confidence. That's probably one of the biggest issues I have or have had. I fluctuate with my self-confidence. Some days I don't give a crap, and other days I'm really conscious of people looking. And the mobility side of it, the independence. I suppose that's probably the biggest thing. Is the independent side. I'm dependent now on other people wholeheartedly. Even to go to the shops, or to go swimming, or to the gym, I depend on someone getting me there. Hospital appointment, I need someone to get me there. It's not the feel of before. I would get up and walk. I'd get up, drive myself. I'd go on the bus. Now I can't drive. I'm unable to drive. I can't get on the bus by myself because I get fatigued very quick, and like with going to the shops, I don't know, I might be alright getting there, but I can't get back on my own. So independence is probably, I'd say, probably the hardest part of my amputation. How long did it take to get a limb? It varies. Some people have had a limb within 8 weeks. Some people have had a limb in 2 years. Mine took 3 months. If that's what the question's about. From amputation to getting a limb, it varies. It all depends on how the body reacts to the amputation and how it recovers, and how you are and how able you are beforehand. And if you want to do it, you will get up and do it. If you're asking about from casting to limb, it's on average 2 weeks. From casting the leg to getting the limb is 2 weeks. That's lower limb. I don't know about upper limb. I've not, as of yet, come across anyone with upper limb in my mobility centre or my prosthesist, I think. So it may be different with upper limb, but lower limb, it's definitely 3 months is, I'd say, very doable if you're younger and willing to. But I've spoke to some people, elderly, that have waited in excess of 2 years for a limb just because they weren't ready to get up and move. But from casting to prosthetic, it's 2 weeks. What happened to your toe? I will put a picture up here of my toe. That's on my left foot. I had meningitis, meningococcal septicemia, when I was a year old. A year and 16 days old, I contracted it, which boiled my blood. I have burn marks over my back, my legs, my wrists, back of my head. Luckily, none on the money maker. But it burnt the back of my heels off. It burnt the tips of my toes, and it burnt and deformed my 2 big toes. I've lost my right leg, so it's not. That was the less deformed foot, strangely. But yeah, my left foot is. It looks. My family call it my mushroom toe. But it looks like animation. Tom and Jerry, when Jerry hits Tom on the thumb or the toe, it blows up and it deforms, and that's what my toe resembles. It also changed the shape of how my toenail grows, so it's a very strange toe, but it does its job. But meningitis is the reason. I think the septicemia part, well, they're calling it sepsis now, did the damage. It burnt and turned my toe black, and it fell off. And it has been made worse over the years with other injuries, but yeah, mainly it was the meningitis that done my toe. I don't know where I would see my toe. What medication was you put on? I've been on a few medications, pre and post-op. I started off on cocodamol to try and combat the pain in my foot before the amputation. I was then put on amitriptyline, which is meant to make you very lethargic and knock you out, because I was having a little trouble sleeping due to the pain. The amitriptyline strangely had the reverse effect, and it made me very irritable, and I couldn't sleep on it. It kept me awake, and I had the feeling of I wanted to run and do something, which it has the effects I've read, and the general consensus is younger people on amitriptyline, it has that effect. I was then put on gabapentin, which is what I'm on now. I was put on a very low dosage of that, and a pill slow release form morphine. It goes by many names, but at the moment I'm on Zomorph, which is the company name. Again, I started a very small dose on that, and Oromorph for breakthrough pain. And it's just, before my amputation, it got higher and higher. I had my amputation and they put me on the highest gabapentin, which is a nerve blocker. So it's meant to stop phantom limb pain by blocking out the nerves in your spinal column. It does work, but you do get immune to it. You get used to it, and you need to raise it up, and then they can put you on other things. But at the moment, the last 2 weeks, they've put me on the highest gabapentin I can be put on. But we're cutting the opioids out. We're stopping the morphine. I'm not on the pill form anymore. I'm only on Oromorph for breakthrough pain, which is all I need to use it for. I'm not in constant pain, but when I'm in pain, it's not very nice, and it can keep me up. So that's where the Oromorph comes in. It's good because a couple of minutes and it's in your system. But they're the only two I'm on. There are many other drugs out there that you can be put on, but I think gabapentin's the main one you'll be put on for phantom limb pain. How long was your stay in hospital? I was in hospital for 4 days. It wasn't going to be, it was only going to be a 2-day stay, but I went in on the Thursday morning to have my amputation. They like you to stay in a day for observations, and then sometimes you can leave. Where mine was done on a Thursday, the day observation was Friday. I then couldn't be discharged until Monday, and then there was a bit of a confusion because they hadn't ordered a wheelchair for me, and they couldn't let me go without a wheelchair, and they took my crutches off me. So I was in there for 4 and a bit days, but you can be out in 2. Was you in intensive care? No, I wasn't in intensive care. I have been in intensive care when I had meningitis. Again, when I was a year old, I was in intensive care for a week, I believe. But with my amputation, no, I wasn't in intensive care. It was actually a very calm and pleasant experience. I'd had many operations on my legs. I have said in previous videos a successful failure. Well, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to watch and hear all my story. But I've had many operations on my legs correcting angles and lengths of bones, and being young and not knowing what's going on all the time, it wasn't very pleasant, and I had some side effects to drugs in hospital, and it wasn't a very pleasant experience. But this one, I knew what was going on, as it was my decision to go forward with the amputation. I had done my homework and asked questions and gone through all the steps that the hospital put out and laid out for me to do, and it was very calm and quite a pleasant experience, knowing what was going to happen and what will happen. And what I went in the morning, it was done early morning. I woke up early afternoon, and although I was very numb because of the drugs they put me on, I was very content in how I was, and everything was calm and happy. It was a good experience. Strangely, it was a very nice experience. So no, I wasn't in intensive care. How long is your hair? Not very. It's long for what I had for growing it for a year. I've still got a little way to go yet. I want to try and get it to my shoulders before I cut it. Little Princesses Trust, I will also leave their link in the description below, and their website. It's a charity for young girls and boys. Little Princesses and Heroes are the same trust, that make real hair wigs for diseases that give you hair loss. So it's not only cancers. I mean, cancer is the main culprit, but there's also alopecia, and some people were born without hair, or start losing their hair very early. And I mean, it's bad enough for a grown man to go through. So for a young boy to go through it, it must be very traumatic. And for a girl to go through it, must be even worse. So I started growing my hair a year ago, as I said earlier, to donate so that they can make it into a real hair wig, to hopefully make a kid's life or a young person's life going through a traumatic experience a little bit easier. I mean, the world today isn't very nice, or it can be nice, but it can be very, very horrible when losing your hair. It can play with your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So these real hair wigs, they are amazing. They look like real hair. They are absolutely brilliant. So the Little Princesses Trust, they're absolutely amazing. Go over there and have a look what they're doing. If you can donate your hair, amazing, or donate money. If not, just share their website just to get their message out there. They are brilliant. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing it for. Are you going for a hippie stage? No, I think we've cleared that up. If it's about my hair, it's all to do with charity. Unless I'm going for a hippie stage in other ways. I suppose my beads, but I'll go for that in another video. But no, I'm not going for a hippie stage. As soon as I've hit the length with my hair, it will be coming off to how it was before. I do like my short back and sides, and I do like to be trim. Alright. Any advice to someone before having an amputation? Do your homework. Get it. Yeah, read up on what will happen, how the amputation's done, if it's the right thing to do. Make sure it's the right thing to do. Explore every avenue possible you can before having an amputation. I was told to get fit before my amputation, and I think that was the wrong thing for me to do, because it seems to be the more fit you are, the harder you're going to fall, and the harder it is to get up. So if your fitness is up here and you crash down here, you've got that much more to climb to get back up to where you was. The one thing I will say is depending on how you are with weight, to gain a little, because I lost 2 stone, and it was 2 stone. I put 2 stone on to lose it, and I did lose it. But if I didn't put the 2 stone on, I would have been in dangerous territory. So depending on where you are with your weight and how if your weight fluctuates, get to a position where you are comfortable with losing 2 stone, because you will lose weight. That's through medication. Some medication suppresses your hunger. That'll be morphine. Suppresses your hunger, and stress. Your body's going through a trauma, and it goes through a stage of shock. So eating becomes a secondary thing in your life. It becomes more about getting rid of the pain. But the 2 and 2 go together. Eating helps repairing, but you don't think of that when you're going through it and when you're stressed out. Have a good support system. Have family or friends or a rehab team close to you. Get to know them. Get them educated on what's going to happen and what could happen, just so that they can help you through it, because you're going to need help. Also, have someone that knows you at your worst and at your best, and get them close. And someone that knows when you've changed. Luckily, I had my mum. She knew I was changing. There was a bit of a change in me early on, very early on. I was getting down and I wasn't laughing and I wasn't myself. I didn't see this happening, but luckily my mum did, and she got me the help that I needed. I just needed to talk to someone really, and to know things were normal, and to feel good again, and get active. Well, half of it was because I wasn't active and I was used to being very active, but there was a few things that weren't quite firing right in my head, and luckily she was there to highlight it and to give me the help. So yeah, get a support system around you that know you and are very close. Get them educated and get yourself educated. It's pretty much all I can advise you really. Other than that, make sure it's the right thing to do, and good luck. It's a big community out there. You're not alone. They're very inviting and they're very welcoming, the amputee community and the disabled community in general. There are many groups on Facebook that I've made friends through the channels, and you're never alone. There's always someone there, no matter what time it is. I talk to people in America, South Africa and Australia, some in Germany and Switzerland. There is always someone that has gone through it or is going through it, and that will have advice. And sometimes you just need a pat on the back and someone else to moan with you. But it's a very big community, and that's another thing I'd advise before you go and have your amputation, is to go onto these Facebook forums or websites for amputees, because you can join them beforehand, and your family can join them too, because they're going to need a bit of support as well. They will have questions that they might not necessarily be able to ask you. They can ask someone like me that's gone through it, and we're glad to help. I mean, we're one and the same. Everyone has feelings and everyone has down days, and that's what these forums are for. So join them, get talking even before you've had it done, just to get the feel of it and to get to know some people. And don't be scared or ashamed to ask questions or to feel down. You're gonna feel down. I mean, you're losing a part of your body. So yeah, just get some support around you. My last question: was you put on a morphine button? And do most people get put on a morphine button? I do believe it's normal practice to be put on a morphine button. It is the best form, apart from the epidurals and the nerve blockers they give you beforehand. I do believe that the morphine is the best pain relief for any surgery, and they do put, unless you've got an allergy to morphine, they put you on morphine, a drip and a button. So yeah, you will be put on, unless there's any complications in your body to do with your heart or liver, you'll be put on a morphine button, unless you request otherwise. But I would highly recommend taking everything they offer you, because you will wake up confused and a little dazed, but that makes you a little more comfortable. So yeah, you will be put on a morphine button, and there's and everyone, or most people, do. That was all the questions I was asked and that I got given through. If you have any more questions, don't be afraid to ask. Either comment below on my Instagram, Antony_without_and_h, or at my Facebook at the same address, Antony without an H. Please share, like and comment questions or hello. And until next time, take it easy.